So the structure of blood vessels is the three different blood vessels are something that the iGCSE loves to test. So I know you can't read these very well. I'll rewrite them here for you. So the three main types of blood vessels that you need to know are arteries, which always carry blood away from the heart, right? Arteries, so A away. They usually carry uh, oxygenated blood. There is an exception to that. There's technically two if a woman is pregnant, but there is an exception to that. I'll talk about it when I look at the named blood vessels in the body that you need to know for iGCSE, which will be a different video. Okay, so they carry blood away from the heart. Then you have the veins. Veins always carry blood to the heart. And then finally, you have capillaries, which are the very, very small ones, and they are where you get diffusion of either like CO2 comes out of the tissue and into the blood, oxygen leaves the blood. You can get nutrients going in and out. You know, I hate the word nutrients, but so you could get glucose or amino acids or things like that. But this is this, so it's the site of diffusion and gas exchange. All right. So one of the things that they like to talk about, and that's what I'm going to focus on in this video, is to compare and contrast the structure of the arteries and the veins. All right. So when they ask about the structure, you don't want to talk about the function, right? This is the function that you're not going to get a point if you say, oh, arteries carry blood away from the heart. That's not a structure. So in terms of the structural features, you can see. So this space in the middle is called the lumen. So the idea is that they have a narrow lumen compared to veins. And so veins are going to have, you would say, have a wide lumen. So that's a structural difference. All right. The other thing is you can see here that the thickness of these walls. Okay. These walls are much thinner. So they have thicker walls. If for A level, you need to be more specific. You can actually see there's two layers. There's actually three layers, right? You have the endothelium, you have what's called the muscle and elastic fiber layer, and then the outside is the collagen layer. Um, this is aimed towards IGCSE. I'm happy to do another video for A level if people are interested. But that's the so for now you can just say thicker walls or thicker muscle layer. And the reason they need that is because um, arteries, because they're carrying blood away from the heart, they carry it at high blood pressure. So this is under high pressure. And so they need these thicker walls basically to withstand and maintain that blood pressure. Again, you'll need to separate these out in A level, but for now, this is sufficient. Okay. The wide lumen, so here you have much narrower wall, thinner walls, you could say. And the reason you have thinner walls is because the blood pressure in veins is much lower. All right. So you don't need that thick wall to withstand the pressure. The other thing that veins have that arteries don't, which is shown here, these are valves. And the idea is that sometimes the blood pressure is so low in veins that the blood doesn't really move much at all, especially if you've been sitting still, right? If you think about the veins in your legs, like if you've ever sat on an airplane for a few hours and you've gotten up, all like your feet have swelled, right? And your legs have swollen up. And the reason it's swollen is because tissue fluid and blood has gathered in those veins and you haven't contracted the muscles to kind of help push the blood along. So there's valves in the veins, and this prevents the backflow of the blood. So that it is only going to go towards the heart and not away from it. So basically, these are like one-way gates, right? The idea is that the blood can pass this way in towards the heart, but it cannot go backwards, which is important. So valves prevent the backflow of blood. You also have valves in the heart. I have a heart video if you want to watch that to talk about the names of them or more specifically. All right, and then the capillaries. The idea is that they have very thin walls because they are the site of diffusion. So they have thin or you could say one cell thick walls. and they themselves are very small. They need to run very close to every cell in the body so that every cell in the body can get the oxygen and drop off the CO2 and other waste products that it needs. So those are your basic structures. Now, they love to ask this question to compare and contrast these structures. Another video, I'm going to talk about the named veins and arteries that you need to know for the iGCSE.